Hey there, and welcome to this deep dive.
Okay.
Today, we're going to be looking at some wisdom on how to build an extraordinary life.
Right?
But thankfully, we have a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
You shared some excerpts with me from this book,
Yeah.
How to Live an Extraordinary Life,
Yeah.
by Anthony Pompliano,
That's right.
specifically through a Blinkist summary.
Okay.
Now, I love Blinkist because it's kind of like
Yeah.
getting the cheat sheet to
Yeah.
a whole book's worth of knowledge.
Right.
Perfect for busy people like us,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely. Blinkist pulls out all the core insights, so you're not,
Right.
spending hours and hours wading through all this text.
And what I find so fascinating about
Yeah.
Pompliano's letters is how practical they are.
Yeah.
And they were originally written to his kids.
Mm.
It's not just some vague self-help stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's like, here's how to make decisions.
Yeah.
Here's how to build relationships.
Mhm.
Here's even how to think about money in a smarter way.
He covers a lot of ground, but there's a clear through line.
Right.
He emphasizes that the foundation of an extraordinary life
Uh-huh.
is, in his words, ethics unyielding as stone.
Okay, that sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
Like never changing your mind or something?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
What's fascinating is that he also says
Okay.
that our opinions should be flexible,
Uh-huh.
able to adapt as we learn new things. It's like your core values are your compass,
Okay.
but your map can change as you explore new territory.
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's not about being stubborn.
Right.
It's about knowing what truly matters to you
Yeah.
and being open to growth.
Exactly.
But how does that tie into building a
Building.
solid reputation,
Yeah.
which he also talks about?
Pompliano warns against chasing titles or possessions.
Okay.
Those can disappear.
Yeah.
But your reputation, the way people perceive your character,
Yeah.
that's built on consistent action,
Okay.
aligned with those rock-solid ethics.
Uh-huh.
You become known for your integrity, not your stuff.
So it's more about who you are,
Yes.
not what you have.
Exactly.
And it makes me think of those people who have stood up
Yeah.
for what they believe in, even when it was unpopular.
Right.
They weren't doing it for the applause or anything.
Mhm.
It was all about just staying true to their values.
Right.
Have you ever had a moment
Oh, yeah, definitely.
where you had to kind of reevaluate
Yeah.
a strongly held belief?
Yeah. I used to think that insert specific belief the expert used to hold,
Mhm.
but then explain what changed their mind, connecting it to the concept of adapting opinions.
Yeah.
And it's humbling, but also freeing
Yeah.
to realize you don't have it all figured out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Which brings us to another big theme,
Uh-huh.
resilience.
Yes.
Pompliano's big on this personal growth thing,
Yeah.
but not in a way that feels overwhelming at all.
Right. He breaks down this idea of achieving huge goals
Okay.
by saying focus on writing those 2 imperfect pages each day
Okay.
instead of aiming for perfection. That's right.
Don't just making progress.
I need like a real life example of this.
Okay, sure.
How does that apply to, say,
Yeah.
someone who's trying to build a business from scratch?
Imagine you're launching a website.
Okay.
Instead of getting paralyzed by building the perfect website,
Right.
you
Then?
could focus on writing 2 blog posts a week no matter what,
Uh-huh.
or sending out a certain number of pitches to potential clients.
Okay.
Consistent action, even if it's imperfect,
Yeah.
creates momentum.
So it's kind of like done is better than perfect.
Exactly.
And I love how he ties this into the idea
Yeah.
that challenges are actually opportunities in disguise.
Yeah.
He says something like, setbacks shape your path in unexpected ways.
Right.
I think we've all had these moments where
Oh, yeah.
something we thought was a disaster turned out to be a blessing.
Absolutely. One example from my own life
Yeah.
is expert briefly shares a personal anecdote about a setback that led to positive change.
Wow.
It was tough at the time.
But looking back, it was a huge turning point.
It's so easy to get caught up in the negative,
Yeah.
but reframing challenges as growth opportunity,
Right.
that's powerful.
Absolutely.
And then Pompliano adds this extra layer.
Yeah.
Look to people ahead of you, not for comparison,
Yeah.
but to see what's possible.
He's not saying copy someone else's life,
Right.
but rather let their achievements expand your sense
Right.
of what you can accomplish.
Right.
That's like, if they can do it,
Yeah.
maybe I can too,
Yeah.
but in my own way.
So find your mentors, your
Hmm.
inspiration,
Yeah.
the people who make you want to level up your game.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about living with intention.
Right.
We've talked about being resilient.
Mm-hmm.
What about relationships?
Yeah.
Pompliano doesn't neglect that at all.
He doesn't.
And he starts off with a
Yeah.
really simple idea.
The power of a phone call.
Yeah.
Just to say hi.
Okay, but we're all so busy these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes even a phone call feels like a chore. What's he getting at here?
It's about being present,
Okay.
not just going through the motions.
Right.
Pompliano stresses that people open up
Yeah.
when they feel genuinely heard, not just listened to, but
Right.
truly understood.
So it's about creating that space
Yeah.
for real connection, for vulnerability.
Exactly.
And that takes more than just, hey, how are you?
Right.
It's about asking questions that show you're paying attention.
Yeah.
What are some things you do to nurture your most important relationships?
It's about carving out some dedicated time,
Yeah.
even if it's just an hour a week,
Uh,
where I put my phone away
Right.
and I really focus on the person in front of me.
That's a great tip.
Thanks.
And I think it ties into Pompliano's point
Yeah.
about being mindful of the company you keep.
Right.
Because he doesn't just talk about building relationships.
Right.
He also acknowledges that sometimes you have to let go
Yeah.
of the ones that are no longer serving you.
That can be tough. But he argues that it creates space
Yeah.
for more positive connections. It's like pruning a garden.
Right.
You remove the dead weight
Okay.
so that the healthy plants can thrive.
And sometimes ending a relationship, even if it's painful,
Yeah.
is an act of self-care.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
Intention, resilience, and these meaningful relationships.
Right.
Where do we go from here?
Next up, we'll be tackling his insights on taking action, achieving goals, and even some practical advice on health balance and financial freedom.
Sounds like we're about to get even more practical.
We are.
So stick with us.
Yes.
We're just getting started with this deep dive into an extraordinary life.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Okay. Welcome back to our deep dive into Anthony Pompliano's insights on building an extraordinary life.
Yeah.
We've already unpacked his thoughts on intention, resilience, and relationships.
Right.
Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, of taking action and achieving goals.
I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm all about the thinking part of personal growth.
Yep.
But not so much the doing.
Yeah.
Does Pompliano have anything to say about that?
He does, and he starts by emphasizing that progress often comes from starting, not from overthinking or waiting for the perfect moment.
Right. It's so easy to get stuck in that analysis paralysis.
It is.
Oh, tell me about it. I have to-do lists for my to-do list.
Right.
But what I find interesting is that Pompliano doesn't just say, like, take action.
Right.
He talks about approaching your work with care and purpose.
Right.
Even those mundane tasks that we all have to deal with.
That's where the magic happens.
Okay.
It's about shifting your mindset.
Right.
Instead of seeing those chores as burdens, try to find the meaning in them.
Okay.
Let's say you're cleaning your house. It's not just about wiping surfaces.
Right.
It's about creating a space where you feel calm and productive.
Yeah.
So it's about finding the why behind the what.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about this in the context of my own work. Sometimes I have to do tasks that I don't really enjoy.
Right.
But if I can connect them to my larger goals, it makes all the difference.
Pompliano also talks about the importance of discipline.
Yeah.
It's about finishing what you start, building those habits that lead to long-term success.
Right.
It's not always easy,
No.
but pushing through those challenging moments is what builds resilience.
And he ties it back to the idea we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Those setbacks are often opportunities in disguise.
Right. It's about not giving up when things get tough.
Yeah.
Using those moments to learn and adapt.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's essential for achieving anything.
Yeah.
Our health and well-being.
Okay.
Pompliano doesn't shy away from the basics here.
He emphasizes the importance of walking.
Okay.
It's simple, yet so powerful. Even a short daily walk can clear your head, boost your energy, and help you feel more connected to your surroundings.
I've noticed that when I make time for walks, even if it's just for 15 minutes, I feel so much more focused and creative afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like hitting the reset button on my brain.
And of course, he also talks about sleep,
Right.
which is something we all know we need, but often sacrifice.
Yeah.
He's right when he says that prioritizing quality sleep can transform how we feel and how we show up in the world.
It's like trying to run a marathon without proper rest.
Exactly.
You're just going to burn out.
Yeah, you're going to hit a wall.
Yeah.
And then he touches on something I find really interesting.
Okay.
The impact of our environment on our well-being.
Uh-huh.
He suggests that a cluttered space can lead to scattered thinking.
Oh, I'm so guilty of this.
Yeah.
My desk can sometimes look like a disaster zone.
Right.
But when I take the time to tidy up, I definitely feel more calm and focused.
It's like clearing the mental clutter along with the physical clutter.
Okay, I'm inspired to go on a cleaning spree now.
Do it.
Let's dive into a topic that I know a lot of our listeners are curious about.
Okay.
Financial freedom.
Right.
Pompliano has some strong opinions here.
He starts with a principle that's often overlooked.
Okay.
Spend less than you earn.
It sounds simple.
Yeah.
But it's the foundation of building wealth.
It is. It's about creating that buffer.
Right.
So you're not constantly stressed about money.
And he goes beyond basic budgeting.
He does.
He talks about the power of investing.
Yeah.
And he draws this really interesting parallel between investing and personal growth.
That's where the compounding effect comes in.
Okay.
He points out that just as your returns generate more returns in the financial world, the more you invest in learning and developing your skills,
right,
the greater the potential for growth in all areas of your life.
So it's like a snowball effect. The more you put in, the more you get out,
right,
both in terms of money and personal development.
Exactly. He also challenges us to be more strategic with our decision-making. He says not every decision has the same impact.
So it's about identifying those choices that will have the most significant long-term consequences.
Yeah. What's a decision that you feel has had?
Well, that's a good question.
A major impact on your life trajectory.
You know, for me, it was the decision to host Doc. Briefly shares a personal anecdote about a decision that had a major impact on their life.
Wow.
It wasn't an easy choice at the time,
right,
but it really set me on a path that's been incredibly fulfilling.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
And it ties into the idea of financial freedom, not just being about the money,
right,
but having the resources and flexibility to create the life you want.
And speaking of creating the life you want, we're heading into some broader philosophies on life in the next section.
We are. Pompliano gets pretty deep here.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
We've covered action goals, even a bit of finance.
Yeah.
What other wisdom does he have in store for us?
Well, he encourages us to think of our lives as documentaries.
Okay.
To find meaning even in the challenging moments and capture those moments so we can revisit them later.
Okay.
And gain some new perspective.
A life is a documentary.
Yeah.
Now that's a thought-provoking concept.
It is.
I can't wait to dig into that.
We'll unpack that in just a minute.
Okay, awesome. Welcome back.
Okay.
We're wrapping up our deep dive into Anthony Pompliano's How to Live an Extraordinary Life.
Right.
And he saved some of the most thought-provoking stuff for last.
He did.
We were just teasing this idea of seeing our lives as documentaries.
Yeah.
What's he getting at there?
It's about reframing how we view our experiences.
Okay.
Especially the tough ones.
Right.
Instead of getting caught up in the chaos of the moment, imagine you're looking back on your life years from now.
Okay.
Those challenges, those setbacks, they become part of a larger narrative shaping who you are.
I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
It's like even the messy parts have a purpose.
Right.
They all contribute to the story.
Exactly.
And I guess it helps you not to take things so personally when they go wrong.
Right.
Because, it's all part of a bigger picture.
And he also talks about capturing those moments.
Okay.
Not just mentally, but physically.
Right.
He's a big believer in the power of photographs to preserve memories and emotions.
I've got to admit, I'm more of a live-in-the-moment kind of person.
Okay.
I don't always think to take photos.
Yeah.
But I do notice that when I look back at old pictures, it's like I'm transported back to that time and place.
Yeah.
It brings back all those feelings.
Pompliano sees photographs as more than just images.
Right.
They're a way to document your journey, to remind yourself of how far you've come, and to appreciate the beauty of even the ordinary moments.
I like that. That's a good reminder to be more mindful about capturing those moments.
Right.
Especially the ones that feel special.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing that Pompliano said that really stuck with me.
Okay.
He talks about how the way you start doesn't have to dictate where you end up.
Right.
It's like he's giving permission to break free from the past.
He is, absolutely. He's challenging us to let go of those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Those voices that tell us we're not capable of certain things because of our background or past experiences.
It's so easy to get stuck in those patterns.
It is.
To think, well, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
But Pompliano's saying, no, you have the power to change.
You do.
To grow, to create a future that's totally different from your past.
He believes we all have untapped potential, and sometimes it just takes a shift in perspective, a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones to discover what we're truly capable of.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. I feel like I've gotten a whole new toolbox of ideas for building a more intentional, resilient, and fulfilling life.
Me too. Pompliano has given us a lot to think about.
Yes.
From the importance of having strong ethics to the power of small, consistent actions.
Right.
And even the simple act of taking a walk to clear our heads.
And let's not forget about that documentary analogy.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that even the challenging moments are part of a larger story.
Yeah.
Shaping who we are and who we're becoming.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought from Pompliano.
Right.
He challenges us to ask ourselves, what's one thing you want to achieve or experience that you previously thought was impossible for you?
Let that question be a starting point.
Yeah.
A spark to ignite your imagination.
I love that.
And propel you toward a life that's truly extraordinary.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.